Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Thursday, July 17th, Jason Moore, Mike Wright, Andy Holloway. The Fantasy Footballers Podcast back with you. Excited to be here, diving back into divisional breakdown episodes and some news to talk about, discuss with you fine gentlemen.
I'm glad we talk fantasy football. I really am.
For a living?
Well, sure, yeah. But I guess I just feel like prior to hitting the record button, it was like we were the fantasy lawyers trying to figure, there's so many things going on, unfortunately, every year.
We certainly aren't
Addison
lawyers.
And Judkins, and we're the fantasy lawyers.
Yes.
Not legal advice, but
every once in a while we have to put on the amateur, lean on all my years of watching, television, lawyer TV.
Little Perry Mason?
Yeah. And
wow.
Come on.
That's
okay.
come on.
All right,
come on.
Andy.
You think Andy wasn't watching Perry Mason?
I certainly was not.
Every incarnation
But I like
of Perry Mason
I like
possible.
the ancient reference. So, yeah, we were discussing the Quinshon Judkins situation again, which we'll get into briefly in the news and figure out where we're at with that information. But today is mostly about the NFC North, which is a really exciting division to talk about.
Also has legal troubles of its own.
Yeah, you are right.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
We'll get there.
Okay, yeah, it took me a second, but you're right.
What?
Yeah, welcome to
What an incredible – this is an uplifting show, guys. I'm so excited. Let's just talk about legal problems.
We are forced to. It's not what I want to talk about, but we have NFC North Breakdown, NFL news to talk about. The Ultimate Draft Kit is available right now at ultimatedraftkit.com. You can go check that out. Dominate your draft this upcoming August, or whenever you're drafting. Some of you if you're doing dynasty drafts and that sort of thing, we've got dynasty information in there as well. Everything there at ultimatedraftkit.com. We'll jump right in because I want to talk laws.
News and notes from around the league.
So there have been a couple of reports around Quinshon Judkins' situation, one of them from Mike Florio talking about the fact he could be placed on paid leave after he signs his rookie contract.
Which that's what I would expect to happen of the commissioner's exempt list would be the first step.
Which
but he's not signed.
He's not signed, which most of the second-round picks are not. That was kind of the story we talked about on the last episode. Like Jaden Higgins got signed, fully guaranteed. Most of them are not signed. I think at that point, 2 of them had been signed.
Two total.
Two total.
Do you know who the second one that got signed is? The Cleveland Browns' first second-round pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, so the one thing that I think is worth bringing up is that we were literally here last year with the Browns. Mike Hall Jr. was suspended 5 games. He was their second-round pick. He went to Ohio State.
For domestic violence.
No, he didn't go to Ohio State for domestic.
No, yes, I'm majoring in
Oh, my gosh, Jason.
in DV. Well, that wasn't. Don't say Jason. I didn't.
You were the one that made it sound awful.
No, he pled no contest to a reduced charge. He ended up pleading down to disorderly conduct from a domestic violence altercation last summer. So the Browns literally went through this. He ended up on their commissioner's exempt list. He ended up missing 5 games unpaid and then came back in week 6. So,
but the difference is Judkins is not signed. Like Judkins is not an NFL employee right now.
Which means he can't be put on the commission exempt list, but he also can't practice and participate. I think regardless, either he doesn't sign because there's all sorts of contractual issues now that the Browns are going to have to figure out, like, okay, we've got problems with this player.
Yeah.
So then he misses camp because he's not signed, doesn't have a contract, or they sign him, figure it out, and then he misses camp because he's put on the exempt list.
Correct.
At this point, it seems, and this is speculative, but it's an educated guess, that you're going to have Quinshon Judkins missing training camp all of all of the lead up to probably about week 6 or 7.
And the other report was from Mary Kay Cabot out of Cleveland saying the Browns are in no rush to sign him or get him into camp on time because of what you said, the inevitability of him getting him into camp on time. They don't control that.
And
they control the contract.
And the player coming in probably facing a 6-game suspension right away. Like, I am protecting the team.
Yeah,
everyone's not signing right now because they want a fully guaranteed contract for the second-round picks. That's what they're trying to do. I'm not giving Judkins a fully guaranteed contract.
You also don't know how everything's going to play out, so why not wait? I mean, the team has, quote, stressed to Judkins and his agent that Judkins must make his domestic incident the high priority over football. So they're going to let it play out. It's in their – it's not like they can get him into camp quicker because the league will have to act. And so Judkins, I mean, if this is not pled down or more information comes out, this is not just going to be a suspension. This is going to be a catastrophic impact to his first contract.
Yes.
And potential to play.
For sure. And I think when we talked about the fantasy implications, how many games you miss, we really talked about Jerome Ford and his ability to come forward. We didn't bring up enough about Dylan Sampson.
Yeah. Yes.
They spent fourth rounder on another running back, another rookie. He's not as productive. He's not as big as Judkins. That's why, the excitement was there for Quinshon Judkins. But given the situation where it's pure strong Jerome Ford and now Dylan Sampson to start the year, to start training camp and all of that, Dylan Sampson becomes far more interesting.
Is there a chance the Browns just skip the year?
It seems like they're trying.
Can they opt out?
And we've updated our stats for the Ultimate Draft Kit. I feel like Dylan Sampson, he would be more of a take away Pierre Strong's role if I don't
know. He can catch the football. I mean, Jerome Ford. If we're projecting Jerome Ford receptions and it's Sampson instead of Ford,
right?
Ford being a 2-down back on one of the worst teams in football does not excite me.
Well, no, Ford catches passes.
No, I'm saying he can, but Sampson can do that.
Oh, sure.
So I'm saying if that's how the roles break out, where all of a sudden Ford is a first and second down back on a team that scores 4 touchdowns this year. Yeah. I mean, Browns fans hate me right now because we talked about how bad that opening schedule was and all that stuff. And look, I feel for you, Browns fans.
Yeah, this stinks.
I mean, this is like you've already been the cloud of Voldemort has been upon your franchise for so long.
And it was like, hey, we're getting out of it. Like the Voldemort cloud is clearing up,
right?
But it doesn't feel like it.
But another storm is coming through. So that's the update there. And then the NFC North legal situation is just the update that Jordan Addison is due in court, pretrial hearing before a jury trial on his DUI. And some people think that there'll be a plea deal formalized at the hearing. It does make sense. If he was convicted, he would face a baseline 3-game suspension. So Jordan Addison would miss at least 3 games per the NFL's policy, according to Adam Schefter.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you're not going to move Justin Jefferson up any higher based on that. But if you're looking at a strong start to the season for a TJ Hawkinson, that's where the bump goes.
And we're talking about that team today. So we'll go through and we'll evaluate, what that means to J.J. McCarthy to start the season. A couple other pieces of news. This one, look, if the lawyers, they handle the contracts too. So let's just include that in our new legal segment. But Terry McLaurin, still disappointed with contract talks. His most recent quote
is,
He said, without any progressive discussions, it's hard to see me stepping on the field. Camp is supposed to open next Tuesday. And he says he's pretty frustrated, not going to lie. What has transpired has been pretty disappointing.
I am fully on Terry McLaurin's side of this one. This guy has been...
He's paid his dues.
He has been the face of your team through many years of grade A baloney. So, and he deserves to... He's underpaid right now. Jason, you're making a weird stink face.
I'm not completely on his side, depending on what they're squabbling about. If it's years of guaranteed money, then I'm on the team side. I'm not giving Terry McLaurin 3 guaranteed years of extension. Pay him a lot right now. He deserves to make money. You've got a rookie quarterback under contract. Give him a monster 2-year deal.
I mean, guaranteed money is everything. But like Terry McLaurin in the wide receiver department position for what he puts on the field, he is severely underpaid.
Think about this if you want to know his value to the team. If you take Terry McLaurin off that roster,
it doesn't seem
what do you think about what do you think about that quarterback now? What do you think about the team's chances?
I think
we would change
their playoff chances go down.
We would change Jaden Daniels in the UDK immediately if he didn't have. If we were like, oh, he's reliant on a Deebo Samuel resurgence season. I mean, that's not where you want to be.
Yeah, I mean that it's a fun exercise where you go, okay, what would the Vegas line for wins would it change?
I don't know.
If Terry McLaurin towards ACL today, it might. Whereas someone like Judkins going down at running back is like whatever.
But anyways, the it's hard to see me stepping on the field. Players missing a good amount of training camp freaks me out, man.
Well, who is going to step on the field though? Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Well, that one kind of came through late of last show, kind of live reacted. But Garrett Wilson, he got a 4-year extension. He is absolutely paid by the Jets. We didn't really react.
Sauce Gardner as well.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner. We didn't do a ton of reaction. I tweeted out, like, my dynasty team, I'm pumped about this. I like my player having an extension like this, the amount of money. And, of course, people are responding with, well, now he's on the Jets forever. And you're like, I totally get that. But, like, the way I'm looking at the Jets situation this year is either it works with Justin Fields and you get like maybe a DJ Moore or a DJ Moore light year, and then we're all happy, or he's terrible, and now next year the Jets are taking a really high profile quarterback.
Yeah, but that might be one of the reasons why people are uncomfortable.
Yeah,
because we all see that playing out. The odds are
the devil you know, the devil you don't know.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's good that he got paid.
Yeah,
he's their alpha for the foreseeable future. It's just that we can see, Fields probably doesn't work as a playoff contending Jets quarterback, and that's what it would take. And then you're on to Rookie Town, and Rookie Town it's a scary place to be sometimes. So, like if I told you get 1 year of Justin Fields and you get 1 year of Caleb Williams rookie season, you're kind of like crap. You'd love to have Garrett Wilson have more. But I'm with you in concept here. Very productive last year with Aaron Rodgers. Things changed when Adams got there. Always been a target monster. It's just I do not believe that Garrett Wilson, it's going to be very easy for him without a prolific passer to enter Jefferson range or Chase.
Oh,
range.
I don't think
he can do that. Which that part of it's a bummer because I think maybe from a skill standpoint he's close.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I don't think we're going to ever get there. That would take quite a shifting of quarterbacks, which that stuff does happen every once in a while as well.
Colston Loveland said he is 100% entering training camp, but
I love that.
Declined to say whether or not he'd be on the field when camp began.
I do not love that.
The team may
I don't play unless I'm 110%. You know what I mean? Like 100%? You want me to play football?
Have you ever tried to go from 100 to 110%? It's very difficult.
Yeah. So we'll see when training camp starts. That's
I wonder if that's a deference to more the team making a decision on his pace of returning.
Yeah,
that's how it feels to me. But I look, Colston Loveland hasn't gotten a lot of discussion this offseason
because he's been hurt.
Exactly. But it's one of those things that maybe that could prove a mistake to not really bring him up enough with the draft capital and the quarterback going into year 2 and an offensive coordinator we like. I mean, Colston Loveland was drafted with a purpose. You don't take a guy in the top 12 picks.
Correct.
Where was he? Was he 11?
He was number 10.
10. So, I mean, it would be a foolish thing to ignore that draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
And just because we don't get to see him out there right now, he could prove extremely important to this offense and was drafted to be their Laporta of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's all the news. Any more legal information coming in, Al? I don't know if you are you on the fax machine getting anything through from the clerk or the...
Nothing's come through yet, but I'll keep you posted.
Goodness. If we never have to talk about legal stuff again, it'll be too soon. Let's jump right in. It's the NFC North.
Let's get divisional.
Well, this is a very fun one. The NFC North was outrageous last year. A reminder for those that have, just tuned into the show again this year. We're in the middle of the divisional breakdowns. We just did the entire AFC, 4 episodes, or I guess we had the mock draft episode, and the previous 4 was the AFC breakdowns. But we're kind of looking at all the offseason changes, head coaches, players, rookies coming in, an overview of the team, how we think they can function. We'll end up making a prediction on how we think this division will go, which I'm looking forward to that because I think
there's a number of ways it could go.
Yeah, there are a number of different options. This was a division where last year Detroit 15-2, Minnesota 14-3, Green Bay 11-6. You know, this was the highest.
And me, the Bears.
Yeah, this was the highest.
5-12.
4-0, right?
Did they?
I think they started 4-0.
Was that what
What?
happened?
What?
I don't know about
that
that.
doesn't sound like
it sounds
doesn't
impossible.
sound like
You're saying crazy stuff.
I don't think it's a reality I live
They won
in.
4 out of the first.
2-2.
They were 4-2. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
4-2. Right?
1, 2, 3, 4, and 2.
All right,
going into the bye week.
That was what I was.
We did it.
They had a 662 winning percentage as the division. That's the highest in the history of the league. They also had the highest scoring differential as a division in league history. They were that good.
The point differentials are wild.
So, I mean, yeah, the Lions
Everyone's
were plus,
over 100 points.
plus 222, Minnesota plus 100, Green Bay plus 122. They were great. And you'll notice, like I'll give you a spoiler, okay? We talk about 4 teams today. All 4 teams have an extremely hard schedule because they play each other. That's what I mean. That's part of the factor, right? I cracked the code, right? They're all like a top 10 hardest schedule because they got to play. Like the Lions got to play Green Bay and Minnesota and Chicago. So that's a really big part of it. And I'm really curious your guys' thoughts as we go through these teams because they're very exciting when you watch them. They're very exciting for fantasy in terms of fantasy football options, high win total projections. It's awesome. So we'll start with the Lions. I mean, what a year. 15-2. They have beat their Vegas total in wins 3 straight years. And it was just a magical season for them. Their projected win total last year was 10.5. You know what it is this year? It's 10.5.
Wow.
So,
I mean, after winning 15, you would expect it to be obviously difficult.
I don't know if you heard about their schedule.
Yeah, difficult schedule, but 10.5 feels almost insulting after a 15-win team.
I would have expected, like, if this situation had happened with the Chiefs, it would be 11.5. So I would have expected it to be a game.
You don't have there's big questions about Ben Johnson.
There are changes, and obviously it was a special year. Number 1 in points per game, number 2 in yards per game. They were 7-2 in one-score games, right? So if that evens up a little bit. But, you know, it's a tougher schedule, 3rd hardest in the league. They have to go play in Philadelphia this year, play in Washington, play in Baltimore, play in Cincinnati, play in Los Angeles against the Rams, and play in Kansas City. So when you talk about a team that went 15-2, all of those games I just read, which was 7 of them, all those seem like they'll be really challenging games on the road. So their schedule's tough.
Yeah, in the first 3 weeks on the road in Green Bay, then 2 weeks later on the road in Baltimore, it's going to be tough sledding, but that's how Guns Mahoney wants it.
Well, wasn't it last year that they started against Kansas City and got the win? Wasn't that the debut game last year? So it's a question for fantasy managers now of Ben Johnson's departure, the very, very high expectations for this team, and what the production's going to look like for Jared Goff and the offense.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
I remember that
Thank
game,
you.
but
Okay.
yes, last year was not the Kansas City game.
What game was it?
Last year they started, I think, the Rams. Yes.
Thank you. So what are our expectations for the offense in light of the transition of offensive coordinator? For me, I think they have so much established structure, right? So much trellis for the vine, so much consistency in personnel that I don't personally overemphasize the departure of Ben Johnson. If this was a one-year wonder team, if this was a change in the
Personnel.
a lot of the players,
Yeah. That's what I meant.
okay, yeah. I didn't know if you were mocking me.
No. I'm
like I was going to repeat myself
I'm
or not.
completely agreeing with you that most of the players are the same.
And we've seen this. Dave Canales was the number 1, hire in the offseason 2 years ago, leaves Tampa Bay, goes to Carolina. Everybody has this discussion about the Tampa Bay offense and Baker Mayfield, and it was better than it was the year before. So I don't just want to concede that this team is going to be much worse on offense. I think they will be very close. Whether that ends up number 1 or number 3 or number 5, that's going to be very
So
low.
I do think that they're going to move down to be like 10, which is not a bad offense. They're going to be a good offense.
There are very large fantasy implications, though, of if the Detroit Lions are the 10th ranked offense,
for sure,
of where the ADP of these guys are going.
When you think of their offensive line, it's not just the Ben Johnson situation. That does exist.
Yeah, he doesn't play those.
What he did is he was like sprinkles on top. Because you remember like the play that Ben Johnson came up with where it's like he was watching film of the player that stumbled, and so then they actually came up with the touchdown pass where they fell to the ground.
What a play.
I mean, that kind of stuff is gone because that was truly Ben Johnson's doing. But it's the offensive line that scares me a little bit more. So you combine both of those things together with how prolific they've been, I think they'll be a good offense, but I expect them to take a step back in total touchdowns.
So just to give you perspective, because I didn't know the answer to this. I was just looking it up. They scored 33.2 points per game last year. That was number one. In 2023, they were at 27.1 points per game, which was number 5.
Yeah.
So they do have multi-year consistency. That's a 6 point per game difference. I mean, it's gonna move around, but I would expect them to be in that range.
Well, they with how hot they ran last year, like over the last decade, what they put up of averaging 3.8 or more total touchdowns per game. They were one of 7 teams to do that. Some of the teams that we have actual next year data on, those teams regressed by at least 10 total touchdowns in that time period.
I think you can even make the argument that it happens because their defense is better than it was as well. Because they suffered tremendous injuries defensively. They were 20th in yards allowed, 30th in passing yards allowed. It put their offense in a position where they needed 33 points a game to win a lot of ball games. So
the second half of the year, I remember at the beginning of the year, it was like, don't play guys against the Lions. And then when they lost their entire defense,
and I mean, especially
it was great for their offense.
Losing Hutchinson is
that's massive.
Is incalculable.
Yeah, so you can't even calculate it.
No.
So they that's the lay of the land. I mean, there aren't major personnel changes or overhaul on offense. Jason mentioned their offensive line situation.
To give you an example, we always think of them as like one of, if not the best. So like the Eagles are the best offensive line. Then it's the Lions. They were ranked 4th last year. Their start of 2025 ranking within PFF is 13th. So like that has been the strength of that team, has been their offensive line. And we know Jared Goff, when pressure gets to him, has not always been as good. So that is the personnel change I'm worried about.
Goff has been one of 3 quarterbacks to finish inside the top 10 each of the last 3 years. He is the only player in NFL history with a 72% completion percentage and 4,500 passing yards in one season. And I do think that Jared Goff stands as one of the handful of potential MVPs. Anytime you're a heavy favorite, you're still in that category. But the discussion around fantasy revolves more around your first-round pick, Jahmyr Gibbs, who's going to go in the top 5 in most drafts. His running mate, David Montgomery, in the backfield, who, does he maintain his role? And more so, does he maintain success in that role?
Right.
I don't think so. I don't think either of those is going to prove true. I don't think he's going to be the exact same breakdown because you're entering the real peak of Jahmyr Gibbs' career. And Montgomery is I just don't think it's going to be a smooth sailing on the offensive line. So I think you will see a slightly bigger lean towards Gibbs, but that's not a certainty.
Well, you're going to need that. You're going to absolutely – I believe if you're taking Gibbs as like the number 3 running back off the board, the 5th pick, like you're going to need him to get more of the lion's share work over David Montgomery.
Yeah, double. Double meaning.
He's a strange player because he feels fragile and risky, but he also then has the like.
You're talking about Gibbs?
I'm talking about David Montgomery.
Okay,
and then, but he has the if Gibbs misses time, David Montgomery is incredible, and which you cannot say that for every single backup in football that if they get the lead spot that it's going to be awesome. Yeah, they'll be improved. But David Montgomery would be awesome if everything belonged to him, and yet he still feels like not a pick I want to make in the 5th round.
When Montgomery went down, to illustrate it in the reverse, when Montgomery went down the last 4 weeks of the season, Gibbs averaged 29.3 fantasy points per game. That was, I mean, that's outrageously high. It is half PPR.
It was it was a perfect scenario because you had limited season left, so you could just give Gibbs a ton of work. The problem that I have with Montgomery and looking at him, like we can't have all these discussions about the offensive line changing and him getting a year older and not acknowledge the fact that this is a 15-2 team and 70% of his carries came when Detroit was leading or tied, which that number came up when we talked about Derrick Henry. Like 80% or something of Derrick Henry's carries came when they were leading or tied. You saw that schedule. When push comes to shove, if these games are close, it's tough to have Montgomery on the field in a comeback. It's difficult.
Yeah,
the versatility that Gibbs, I mean, we didn't mention it in the news, but one of the recent stories is Gibbs is lining up on the outside more than he ever has. And
those are fun.
And so it is Gibbs' time in this offense, but Montgomery, when you draft him in the 5th round, you're going to make the decision to take Montgomery, who is technically a 2 on this offense, over other potential starters. Right? Where does DeAndre Swift go right now? Is that 4th round?
I think
way
Swift
later.
is later than Montgomery.
So that's what I'm saying is you're going to have to take. Yeah, okay, he's 8 running backs later. So who's going next to Montgomery, and how would you make those decisions? Because
I will tell you,
there's got to be starters in that vicinity, and Montgomery is not.
Yeah, you are correct. So there's Isaiah Pacheco, Aaron Jones, R.J. Harvey are the
Connor.
next 3 running backs.
Connor?
James Conner is 1 spot ahead of him. But yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about Gibbs too. And I realize Gibbs is so electric that he's a league-winning type. But like you're taking Gibbs over Derrick Henry, in a lot of situations. You're taking him over Christian McCaffrey, over Ashton Genty, and
it's easy for people to think that. Like, I want to, like, go, hey, come on, obviously. But when you really think about what it looked like last year, this was a 15-2 team that scored 33.7 points per game. Gibbs didn't finish inside the top 10 at the position on any week until week 7. Yeah, he only did it 4 times when Montgomery was healthy. 4 times.
Well, I was going to bring that up. So he was 29.3 fantasy points per game when Montgomery went down. But when Montgomery was there, it was 16.9 fantasy points per game to Montgomery's 15.2 fantasy points per game. So it was like, they weren't that different when Monty was healthy.
It's just managing the reality in Detroit. Now, could Gibbs finish number 1 overall at the position? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Every time he touches the football, I start to tingle.
But I don't think he could. I don't think he could finish number 1 without a Montgomery injury.
I do think that could happen, but your odds are not very high. Yeah, I think with the efficiency, it's possible, but. You'd have to have a philosophical change in what you're doing around the goal line a little bit. And that, it's possible with the Ben Johnson change that happens. But Amon-Ra St. Brown continues to be a machine in this offense.
I feel like there's not a ton to talk about with him.
No, it doesn't seem that way. He's just belongs in the first round and the late part of the first round.
He's really safe. Okay, I guess here's a question. Can he finish as the wide receiver 1?
No.
Jameson
Williams, though, in the 6th round, I love that value, if you didn't know. I like that value.
What?
And as long as he stays that far away from the front of the draft, I will continue to like that value. Sam Laporta finished a lot stronger than he started last year. Don't want him to be ignored.
No, I'm slowly moving more and more in on the idea of drafting Laporta.
It was a really, really strong finish. And so, again, if you can't run the way you want to run, you got to utilize some of that passing game. That's also the case for Goff having more success potentially, or at least putting up the big yardage numbers. Success-wise, who knows if he throws more picks or things like that. But Green Bay on the road, tough one to start, then at home against Chicago, then in Baltimore, and then at home against Cleveland. So that'll be fun to see what this team can do to start the year. We're going to take a break and come back with, a lot more question marks. All right, boys. It's time to talk about the Minnesota Vikings, who went 14-3 last year.
They were not supposed to be good.
Yeah, and that line, that narrative, that thought process around Minnesota is so perfectly applicable to how we view this year and projecting them. This idea of what is supposed to happen when you have a young quarterback or an unproven quarterback or a quarterback we perceived as bad.
Yeah, he was proven. Sam Darnold was a proven quarterback.
And yet, 14-3 with Sam Darnold. I mean, this was like the idea of Sam Darnold having this kind of success was almost out of the question.
It was wild.
They they had the largest discrepancy in their Vegas line to what they did of any team in the last 10 years. So that was their season. They were projected to win 6.5 games. They won 14 games. They went 9-1 in one-score games.
Ooh,
and
this year is disrespectful.
And this year it's at 8.5. I get it. I really do. It's a brutal division. They have the 5th hardest strength of schedule, and they've got essentially, for all intents and purposes, a rookie quarterback.
Sophomore.
A quarterback that is not played yet.
Yeah, in order to
J.J. McCarthy.
In order to project the Vikings with accuracy, you have to first be correct on whether McCarthy is it or not, or how fast he can step into being an NFL franchise quarterback right now, year one, or you have a different discussion on his face.
That discussion is that maybe being it doesn't even matter to Kevin O'Connell. Maybe just playing quarterback matters to Kevin O'Connell. Because when you look at, Sam Darnold was the quarterback 8 with Kevin O'Connell. When Nick Mullins was the quarterback, he was a top 12 quarterback in 3 or 4 starts. When Josh Dobbs was his quarterback, he was a top 12 quarterback in 2 of his 5 games. When Kirk Cousins was the quarterback, he was the quarterback 4 and quarterback 7. Maybe Kevin O'Connell is just that good.
And in addition to Kevin O'Connell setting whoever the quarterback is up for success, I believe J.J. McCarthy is it. I think he is really, really good. I think he's better than Sam Darnold.
I did laugh at the throwing the ball a few times to T.J. Hawkinson against no defense with no pads on clip that was surfacing.
Oh, I didn't get to see it.
It must have been fire.
Let me explain it to you. Hold on. It's going to be hard for you to believe. J.J. McCarthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
They drafted him to play
quarterback,
yeah. Right?
Uh-huh.
Get this. He throws the football.
Okay.
I'm listening.
His receiver down the field.
Was it Hawkinson?
He caught it.
Hawkinson?
Hawkinson caught it.
Hawkinson caught it.
Two-handed?
No drops?
No, I didn't see any drops. There were like 3 or 4 times in a row where he threw it.
3 or 4 times in a row?
Where he threw it to the guy that looks like a Viking. And
that's edited.
It might be CGI. It might be CGI. No, I love the offseason. It's great. But look, this is my dynasty quarterback, boys. J.J. McCarthy.
I don't know if I like that. All 3 of us are so in on J.J. McCarthy. Because I am very in. I think he is going to be a great starting quarterback. And
check that video out, man. You're really going to believe it.
And Kevin O'Connell, he just gives us – guys, is Nick Mullins good?
No.
If you need me to answer, no. If you need me to fill in, the answer is no.
No, he's not, and that's why I said maybe being it. Yeah, how about you just be okay? Okay for Kevin O'Connell is good for this offense and good enough for this offense. This is a defense that's going to be very good. A head coach is going to put him into the position of being in those close games, and look, McCarthy's going to have to go out and do it and execute the offense. I would say if you give him somebody like Justin Jefferson,
that'll help.
It's going to help that process out. And he's got, they got a running game that I think you can trust in Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. They have Jordan Addison that will be returning and is an explosive playmaker. Hawkinson healthy, right? Going into this season. So there's a lot to like.
Their defense is very good. I think this is a very well-built team. And, for fantasy purposes, it's TBD on whether you really want the fantasy games of McCarthy.
Yes.
Very similar to Darnold. He finished as the quarterback 8, but it wasn't always, easy, week in, week out starts that you wanted. And McCarthy, we're not sure how much he's going to run. He had a season in college where I think he had 400 rushing yards. So he's got some legs that he can use, but I doubt that that's what they want to do. So it's kind of TBD, but I don't worry about him when it comes to the pass catchers. I don't look at Hawkinson and Addison, and obviously not Justin Jefferson, and say, I've got to demote these guys, lower them in my rankings.
They were 14-3 with the 9th, they were 9th in points per game. So it wasn't like they were like Darnold was winning ball games, but it wasn't like they were a top 5 offense or something like that. So they can win execution wise.
Well, and while McCarthy may not be give us enough of the mobility that we want for fantasy football, through 3 seasons, Kevin O'Connell's team ranks in pass rate over expectation, 6th, 6th, and 3rd. And in that list, please go back to the quarterback list. They still The game plan didn't change. They didn't say,
let's manage Darnold.
Yeah, like in the Green Bay Packers last year, they lost Love and it's Willis in there, and they're like, we're not throwing the ball ever. Like the Vikings changed nothing about their game plan.
And if you want to talk about the offensive line, like Jason did with Detroit, they were the 18th ranked offensive line to end the 2024 season. They're going into the 2025 season ranked 7th. They added an offensive lineman in the first round, and Donovan Jackson. They added guards. They added
They got the Indy guards.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly, also center in Indianapolis. It's looking like all the structure is there for McCarthy to succeed. He's got to go out and do it. And obviously, winning 14 games that's a tall task. But 8.5 is where they have them right now, and it's a tough division. Like I said, every team in this division has a brutal strength of schedule, in part because they play one another. So let's talk about two other pieces of the Vikings real quick. The backfield and how you think the split will go with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason and the upside there. And then let's talk about TJ Hawkinson being drafted in the 5th round. What kind of value or upside does he represent? And let's start with the running backs, though, because, Mike, you've been vocal about Jordan Mason and his potential. I think Aaron Jones in the late 6th is still a good pick. Are both those guys on the table then?
We mentioned it briefly in the mock draft episode from Tuesday. Aaron Jones is a difficult evaluation for me because generally speaking, he's the running back 23 on a high-powered offense. Yes, that's an archetype that I would want, but he's 30 and a half years old. He's coming off of a year where he had the most opportunities in his entire career, and that includes 255 carries and 51 receptions. Like, he got used a lot. So you're like, okay, I should be really interested in Aaron Jones. And then like they did they worked out his money a little bit more. But they were also then very aggressive in going after Jordan Mason right in the free agency period. They trade for him from the San Francisco 49ers. They immediately give him money. And Mason was one of the most successful runners in last year.
I was going to say, let's just give people a quick reminder of what happened with when CMC went out last year. Jordan Mason was the RB3 in week 1 on 28 attempts at 5.2 a carry. He was the RB7 in week 2, another 100-yard game. And then in week 4, another 100-yard game. I mean, those 4 games, 4.9 a carry, and averaged, like, he would have put up 1,900 rushing yards that year.
And remember how the season started for the Vikings with Ty Chandler. They wanted – they're like, Ty Chandler's going to, get involved. They wanted a split backfield. They gave him 11 opportunities, 10 opportunities, 16 opportunities. Then their bye week comes, and then it's he's playing 4%, 0%, 4%.
Are you saying they
0%.
wanted a committee with Jones?
They wanted that, but
and then they brought
Ty Chandler didn't have it. And so now Jordan Mason has it.
Right.
So I think
it was Akers, right? Yeah, they got it. Yeah, so they then right in week 7, they bring Akers back to the team. They trade for him, and Ty Chandler is gone. So where it's difficult for Jordan Mason is you want the high-value touch of the reception. He's not going to do very much of that. No. Aaron Jones will have that role, but the coaching staff has talked about Jordan Mason in, like, they brought up the short area, the short yardage, and goal line. So if Jordan Mason, while he's not going to be super electric, I should say, for fantasy, because if he's not getting those receptions. But if you're drafting a guy in the 13th round who's going to get the goal line opportunities for the Minnesota Vikings, there is excitement there.
And would be a prolific back if an injury to Aaron Jones happens. So that's worth considering for sure. Mason's basically free. He's a 13th round pick, RB 46. So keep an eye on him at the end of drafts. I know we just took him. I think Jason might have got him at the end of the last mock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's a great pick. Like I don't think it would be wild if they try and Detroit Lions this. Like, if Jordan Mason is the hammer, and then Aaron Jones is the pass catcher and more of the lightning guy.
Hawkinson, are we feeling good with the 5th round price, or is that about as high as?
I don't personally feel good with a 5th round price. He is not a true difference maker at the position. If you're in a league,
okay.
If you're in a league,
this was a tight end 4, tight end 2, tight end 4 3 seasons before. So I feel like that's a profound statement to say he's not a difference maker.
My point is the tight end 4, if he finishes as the tight end 4, I don't think he's a difference maker. The way that when you're spending the draft capital on a Brock Bowers, Trey McBride, even George Kittle, I have TJ Hawkinson as my tight end 4. He is currently ranked there. But whether I'm giving up a 5th-round running back or wide receiver to draft a guy like Hawkinson, if I'm in a league I don't care that much about and I don't want to scour the waivers and I just want to lock in a tight end, I'll probably take Hawk because I'll be like, that's easy. I know I could just leave him there every week.
You got him in the 7th in our mock.
I love that. If he falls in your draft, grab him.
Okay.
It's just opportunity cost.
You took him in the mock right before Sam Laporta, so you're a Hawkinson over Laporta.
I've got Hawkinson 4, Laporta 5 in my ranking.
I would go Laporta. Andy, what would you do with those two guys?
I should double check where I have them ranked.
I have Hawkinson one spot ahead. I'm going to evaluate my stats.
I have Hawkinson. I have Hawkinson ahead.
Yeah, maybe that too.
One of the two. Harder stats.
That could be the thing. I go on the stats and I say, oh no, my heart got it right.
Okay.
I have Hawkinson projected for 115 targets in the offense. He was at
he's a
127
PPR guy.
and 129. He's going to be so helpful for, I think, J.J. McCarthy, and I think he's going to be so helpful for fantasy, especially when Addison's not on the field. So capitalizing early season. I don't really want to spend the 5th. And if Laporta's on the board or Njoku's on the board, I probably just wait for the last of that group. So they start the season against Chicago, Atlanta, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh. So the Bears in week 1 that's fun. It's in Chicago, Monday Night Football. J.J. McCarthy's first start as a pro is going to be on the road in Chicago on Monday Night Football.
Honestly, Chicago, Atlanta, Cincinnati is a pretty strong start to the season. Ironically, those would be the 3 games currently projected for Jordan Addison to miss.
It's funny because I definitely imagine that they'll be underdogs in week 1. No way that they're going to be favored going into Chicago.
Seems fair.
But not by a lot, probably. All right, let's go.
Right now it's 1.5.
Okay.
Chicago?
Wait, they're favored or?
Chicago is favored.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right. You guys ready to turn the page here?
Yes, sir.
I'm really excited to talk about this team. The Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers were 11-6 last year. The Green Bay Packers as a reality as an NFL franchise versus your fantasy story, there's a pretty big separation between those two. And I think that's what makes them very interesting they have just been such a good team under Matt LaFleur. They've outpaced their Vegas win total in 5 of 6 years under McClure. But the story for fantasy was like disappointment in Jordan Love, struggling to find any consistency from any sort of wide receiver, the surprise of Tucker Kraft in the middle of the year, the dependency on Josh Jacobs. He ended up being a value. It was just a little bit weird. The predictiveness of the team was not there for fantasy players, but the success of the team was still there. And they had the higher win or the higher point differential than Minnesota did, but Minnesota had that amazing 1-score game record, and Green Bay was 5-5 in 1-score games. They have the 10th hardest schedule, which I think is the best of the division. So I'm really excited to talk about them. I think they're going to be right in the mix all year long, 8th in points per game, 7th in yards per game. Had a good defense in terms of those metrics. But how in the world do we find the fantasy value?
Yeah, I'll tell you how you find it. Luck. I mean, genuinely, like, there will be fantasy value here.
Hey, just get lucky.
I mean,
just get lucky.
That feels like what it's going to have to be because let's say there's no injuries here. All right, Matthew Golden and Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks, they're all healthy. They're all playing. Tucker Kraft is healthy. He's playing. They're going to spread the ball around to great success on the NFL field and to much chagrin for fantasy football. So how you find the success is getting the healthy ones while not everyone stays healthy. That's what it feels like for me, and that is assuming that Jacobs does not continue to score a touchdown every single week on the ground.
Well, I think so. Let's start with the easy answers, which is Josh Jacobs, great pick, great player, should be very productive. Are we agreed?
I am there, yes.
Okay, so
we are in agreement, but let's see, where is he going? Like the running back?
Josh Jacobs
9?
He's the running back 9, back of the second, like
so
the 2-3
I'm
turn.
fine with that, man.
That's the bigger question for me. I need to pull up some names there.
So he
see
was
what's going on.
He finished last year as the RB5, gets drafted this year as the RB9. He led the NFL in, with 14 rushing touchdowns inside the 10. We know they turned him, and we know he gets it done there. 58% of his yards were after contact. Like he just was really, really good last year.
Yes.
And
they figured out how to use him near the goal line to incredible success.
So we'll see if the offensive line can hold up. But that seems like one of the easier answers.
Well, I don't think it's completely easy from the perspective.
Mike's ruined my whole flow.
Hey,
I wanted an easy win.
But I think that this is the
easy wins on this show. No easy wins on this show.
I want to hear it.
This is the important thing to talk
everything.
about.
Just go on.
Of the passing versus the rushing. Where last year you're like, Josh Jacobs at the end of the year was a touchdown every single week, and so back in 2023, 76% of their touchdowns were passing touchdowns, and then that completely swung the other direction. Like 76 is too high, but like Matt LaFleur with Jordan Love, this has been a successful passing offense. And then looking at what happened with Jordan Love week 1 hurts his ankle at the very end of that Brazil game, misses a few weeks, comes back, still good. He goes he's right back to the QB2, a QB16, not as great, but QB4, QB11. Then he hurts his groin, and you can't really box score check for this because he kept playing. He got taken out of that game against Jacksonville, but from then on out, he was passing the ball 10 fewer times per game. So they were still saying we want Jordan Love out there. He's our better option to win, but they completely shifted to a more run-heavy approach, and my concern for Josh Jacobs at that back of the second is that the pendulum swings back to what LaFleur and Jordan Love have historically been doing.
Let's try to find a compromise here, Mike.
Okay.
Here's the compromise. I love Jordan Love. I think that you're right. I think everything you said is right. I think they would have loved to have used his skills and abilities more last year, but he's limited by injury, and you saw the pendulum swing. But I think when you get inside the 20, Josh Jacobs is an above-average weapon and wins in that area.
So we can be in agreement on that one.
So that means that we can swing the pendulum back a little bit in total volume, and that pass percentage, they were 30th in pass percentage. That's insane for that kind of an offense. But we don't really have to take a lot of value away from Josh Jacobs because I think the dude's going to get into the end zone. I think you can have more balance. I think you can find a middle ground, but I think Jacobs doesn't necessarily need, they don't need to run at the third highest clip in the league for Jacobs to be valuable.
Where he's going is it's so interesting for how you're building the team. Because back of the second, my rankings with Josh Jacobs, I'm a couple spots lower than where he's going in ADP, but that not a huge difference where I'm upset about where he's going. But how are you building your team? Because after him, do you want Josh Jacobs or do you want to get Lamar on your team? Or do you want to wait for Kyron or Chase Brown, who are later in the third round, and take a wide receiver in the second? That's where he is an interesting discussion.
The truth of the matter is if you're taking Josh Jacobs, you're probably Chase, Jefferson, Amon-Ra. I mean, you're one of the top tier wideouts. If you took him in the first and you swing all the way back around to the back of the second,
right?
You're probably Jacobs. At least you can get a running back one in that boat. But if it swings a little bit, can Jordan Love be an elite fantasy quarterback? Maybe we don't talk about trying to figure out which wide receiver is going to get it done every week. Maybe we talk more about, do they just have enough guys with talent to make Jordan Love more viable?
We know Jordan Love can be valuable. He was the quarterback 2 years ago. I think the odds are stacked against him to truly be really valuable with a good running game and a good defense. If they're, if they do well this year, like they did last year, like they're projected to do this coming year, I don't think they're going to throw the ball as much. Like 2 years ago, Jordan Love threw the ball 579 times. This last year, because it wasn't his touchdown. Like, I know Josh Jacobs, we felt like was vulturing all the touchdowns, but Jordan Love's touchdown rate went up last year. He went up last year, even though he finished as quarterback 17.
Do you know what his attempt pace was before the groin injury?
I know what his attempt pace was on the entire season.
His touchdown pace was 51 at that point.
And his attempts would have been over 600 on the season.
So you're saying because of the groin injury,
I'm saying that the groin.
This is a groin narrative.
You can't find this one on groinindex.com, I don't think.
We don't update
there's not articles over there, just injuries
However,
to the groin.
There is a very clear line drawn in the box score when the attempts
those week 8
plummeted.
Was that against Jacksonville?
Yes.
I'll weigh in. I think Jordan Love can be a top 5 quarterback.
Okay. Nice.
I love Tucker Kraft. I love Jaden Reed, and I think they made a priority. Love or hate Matthew Golden,
he will help Jordan.
He will help Jordan Love.
Yes, of course.
Let's not try to make Matthew Golden something he's not. But Christian Watson will play for this team. Dontavian Wicks still plays. Romeo Doubs plays for this team.
The nice thing for the wide receivers is like, well, how are you going to approach them? Risk is baked into every single Green Bay Packer wide receiver. No one wants
into the draft price.
Yeah, ADP wise, Jaden Reed, who is on field is their best wide receiver. He doesn't always be on the field, but on field he is, and he's the wide receiver 44. These are
also baked into Jordan Love.
Nothing.
It's baked into Love's price. Last year he was going too high. We were all nervous. He's a quarterback 12 off the board. I mean, if you want to take a shot, I don't mind it. Now, I also understand liking other players like Drake May, or if you want to roll the Jared Goff or Bo Nix or Brock Purdy.
So many quarterbacks going behind Jordan Love that I prefer over Jordan Love. And obviously this is. I mean, we'll find out what happens. Maybe it was the groin, but also they had a new player in Josh Jacobs that they figured out how to use him more and more and more, and he did well. So I don't know, but here's what I do know. I know that Jordan Love does not run the ball. He is not going to be a mobile rushing quarterback, and I know that if you draft those guys in fantasy and you want a season where he's going to finish top 5, which he's done before, you're going to need to throw for near 4,500 yards and near 35 touchdowns.
You know what I just realized?
So it's just got to go perfect.
I just realized that I am not excited to have to predict the order of this division in a little while.
Yeah,
that's what I just realized.
I've got mine written.
I've been
down,
already
because I've
been ruminating.
You're smart because I can argue so many directions. All right, we got to take another break.
I know one team that you won't put at 1.
Oh yeah, we got to take a break.
Talk about them next,
and we're going to talk about them in a minute.
I'm just trying to rile up the Bears crew to attack you.
Oh, it's not hard to do. The Bears are the final team we get to talk about.
We don't hate the Bears, everybody.
No, not at all.
Yes, I do.
Oh,
okay. No, it's
fine.
fine.
Packers fan hates the Bears.
Al Borland.
We'll allow it.
Wait, are they good enough to hate?
I mean, the rivalry still exists.
Okay, just making sure. They were 5-12 last year. They had a win total of 8.5. They did not deliver on that. By the way, no one will want to hear this, but over the last 10 years, they have surpassed their Vegas win total before the season one time.
Aye.
So 10 years worth of, and we're not talking about big win totals here, boys. We're talking 6.5, 7.5, 5.5, 7.5, 9, 8, 7.5, 5.5, 7.5, and 8.5.
Oh, gross.
So I guess
bet the under.
I guess that's rough, man. After their Week 6 win last year, when you mentioned they were 4-2, they lost 10 straight games. They have the 7th hardest schedule this year, according to Warren Sharp. Their win total is projected at 8.5. So nowhere to go but up. Points per game, 28. Yards per game, 32nd. Caleb Williams, rookie season, not a fantasy goldmine.
Nope.
Ben Johnson's your new head coach. Matt Eberflus. Eber flew the coop. I guess he was forced out.
Yeah, he flew the coop like one of the mama birds that's like, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a Ben Johnson story. Can he get Caleb Williams playing the way he needs to play?
Offensive line has massively changed.
That is honestly
they've reworked it all.
That's the best part. The best part of the offseason was they've done so many things right.
From 24th to 4th in PFF rankings.
It's beautiful.
Joe Tooney, welcome to town. They invest in Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, and they've got, they have a lot of potential in the wide receiver room. I mean, Roma Dunze.
Hype. It's so
I know.
I want them to be good so bad. If Caleb Williams comes out this year and is who they drafted him to be, that is so good for the NFL. That's so much fun for fantasy.
There are so many players on this team that it could be that will be just fantasy gold.
So let's do this experiment. All right, I think I have a good game to play with Chicago. Their win total is 8.5. I'm going to give them 10 wins. If they win 10 games, okay. If they win 10 games, I'm going to read their players and their draft position, and you tell me if you'll be happy.
If they win 10
games. If they win 10
absolutely.
games, DeAndre Swift, late 7th round pick. If they win 10 games, is that a steal?
Yes.
Okay. They win 10 games. DJ Moore, wide receiver 20 off the board at 406. Is that a good pick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Rome Odunze, 7th round pick. Middle of the 7th, wide receiver 36. Is that a good pick?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. Colston Loveland, 11th round, tight end 16 off the board. Is that a good pick if they win 10 games?
Probably, yeah.
Yes.
And then last one, Caleb Williams, late 9th, QB 14 off the board. They win 10 games. Does he outperform that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Now,
do they win 10 games?
Can you do me a favor and read that thing you said about
their win total?
Let's do it if they
win 14 games, guys.
No, I don't think they win 10 games.
Okay.
I came into this offseason. I've shared this story once earlier in the offseason.
By the way, winning 10 is just 1.5 over their Vegas line, just for the record. Al back there going, this is silly. They got no chance. We know how you feel about the Bears. What's your win total for the Bears?
7.
You know.
Oh, okay. All right. Generous.
Yeah.
What's your win total for the Lions?
7.
12.
Okay.
Sorry. We can't talk to Owl about this division. You know, when I finished my first run through of the UDK statting, I was very bullish on Caleb Williams, very bullish on DJ Moore, the upgraded offensive line, and Loveland. Loveland was super high. And I went back and I watched every single throw of Caleb Williams last year. And I watched them.
I would recommend not doing that.
Yeah, and I
some of them were nice.
Oh, he definitely had the flashes of brilliance. The flashes where you go, wow, that arm, that angle,
Caleb Williams,
every piece of heart.
Well, a good summary of what Caleb Williams was capable of doing last year was 3 or 4 plays in a row to come down the field, to go for a game-winning field goal, and then make a mistake before you get quite close enough. That's kind of how it felt.
Yeah, but when he threw from a clean pocket to a normal wide receiver just breaking on a slant and was inaccurate so much, I was just like, obviously he could fix that, right? There are quarterbacks that have
gun-shy
done
in
that.
a pocket where you're getting sacked all the time.
Absolutely,
yeah.
and that is the hope, and that is my rooting interest. I'm still, in the mock draft we just did, I took DJ Moore because the path is so clear for it to be really good for the Bears. I'm personally, if I have to make a bet, if I've got to put a chip on, is Caleb Williams really good? You know, I'm doing the same thing with J.J. McCarthy. I don't think so. I think Caleb Williams goes more the route of Trevor Lawrence, where he is capable. He'll get another big money contract, but I don't think he's going to develop into, when you had Trevor Lawrence drafted, he was supposed to be the next greatest since Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was supposed to be the next greatest since Peyton Manning. Andrew Luck was. He was that dude.
Yeah, he was great.
Trevor Lawrence wasn't. Well, Caleb Williams is one of those, generational. He's supposed to be that good. I don't think he's going to be.
68 sacks last year, 41 throwaways, which was number 1 in the league, 44th out of 47 in catchable target rate for Caleb Williams. It really will. Their season will go with Caleb this year, with the fact that they've built some of that structure I talked about around McCarthy. They built some of that structure here in Chicago finally. Sure. They're not just leaning on Caleb's. I think it started as Caleb, come save the franchise, and we're not going to do anything right around you. Now it's Caleb, we realize we're going to ruin you.
It's Ben Johnson, come and save Caleb.
Yeah, it's save Caleb. And the only really big debate, look, I think we all think DJ Moore's a good player, so if things are going well for them, he'll be good. Rome Odunze, I think we still believe in Rome Odunze to be a good player. No more Keenan Allen targets available. DeAndre Swift is the bigger question, where he looks like he could be a value in the 7th round, but I don't know if any of us necessarily believe he's the greatest running back in football. So if you look at potential sleeper value on this team, you have to look at someone like Roschon Johnson.
Yeah.
Back behind DeAndre Swift, where it's like, hey, I can see a world where DeAndre Swift, I think he's a dumb runner. I think he has benefited from the Philadelphia offensive line. but I don't think he has a great feel for the defense on a play-to-play basis. And now he could benefit from this offensive line, but at the same time, if Ben Johnson comes in and sets up, this is how you run the offense, this is how you do a run play, and this guy is not running where he's supposed to run, I don't think he's going to hesitate to putting other players in there. So to me, there is a risk factor with Swift in that I think Roschon is okay. I think he's a pretty good player.
The question for Swift will be how many receptions does he get? Because like the last time we had Swift with Ben Johnson, the rushing attempts were down, but the fantasy points were still good because for all of his inefficiencies, Swift is still a top-tier athlete. And the running back room is tough because you have Roschon, who I think Roschon is still a projection of you have to say, well, I think Roschon's good. We should know at this point if Roschon Johnson's a good player, but we don't. And then they took Kyle Monangai in the 7th round. And there are people on draft Twitter that are excited for him. But he was a 7th round pick. I know but back-to-back 1,200 rushing yards at Rutgers. Look, the production profile is there.
7th round Rutgers running back?
Yeah.
Sounds
this
like
is reminding me.
This
is reminding me of Kamani Vidal-Sassoon.
Well, or Pacheco. So, but that's what the
outlier is not the. Yeah, that's not the real
I'm
one.
saying that generally speaking, betting against the 7th rounder for Roschon, who was
the Tampa Bay guy that everyone got all hyped in draft Twitter?
At which point? Sean Tucker?
No.
Keyshawn Vaughn?
Vaughn, baby.
Yeah. But he was a 2nd round pick, wasn't he?
3rd.
Keyshawn Vaughn?
Sure. Yeah, Vaughn was.
No.
Let me get
3rd.
Oh, he was? He was a 3rd round pick?
Yeah, so there was draft cap. He was. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Well, he played like a 7th round pick. Well,
that he did.
So look.
But point being is.
Oh my gosh, I got to figure out this division.
I think at the end of a draft, it's worth taking one of the other running backs for Chicago. Just does Ben Johnson try his best to duplicate Detroit, or does he have something completely brand new? Overall, I will say for the Chicago Bears is not everyone's going to land. Not everyone will hit for this team, and there's so many exciting names. But the reality is, guys, not all of them can hit.
Guys, this is not fair.
I don't even know.
This division is not fair, not because it will be an insult to somebody to put them in the bottom 2 spots. That's the problem with.
Absolutely. You're going to insult somebody, and it could go to anybody. Here, real quick, to get back to Caleb Williams, what I was seeing from a clean pocket, he was 33rd in clean pocket completion percentage.
Out of 600, though, right?
No, out of 36.
Oh, out of 36.
So
crap.
That's what I was seeing that makes me just.
That's why Al has them with -4 wins this year.
Yeah. And all of those -4 go to the Packers somehow. They're added to that total.
Oh my gosh!
All right, I've got my division.
I mean, this is brutal. This is brutal.
It is.
I do not. Oh my gosh! I don't like it.
You want me to go first?
Yeah. I have it written down, but man, I don't want to say it out loud.
I know. This one is. I hope we have 3 completely different answers here.
Go ahead.
I'm going Vikings winning the division.
Okay.
Followed by the Lions and the Packers and the Bears.
All right. I don't have that.
I don't either.
I got Green Bay winning the division.
So do I.
I'm going to take Green Bay.
Wow, none of us have the Lions winning.
I'm going to take Detroit in 2nd place.
That's where I'm going.
I'm going to take.
Oh, you putting the Bears?
I have Minnesota third and
Okay.
Chicago 4th. I want to give hope to Chicago fans, and I do think you have hope, but that hope, what is it when hope takes a while?
Floats.
It floats. Hope prolonged.
Hopium?
Is it a hope prolonged? Like whatever makes the love stronger in future success, that's the kind of hope you have.
Pessimistic hope.
All right, yeah.
But also,
so Mike and I have the same.
We do.
Hope deferred makes the heart sick. No, that's not the one.
That works.
That might have been what I was thinking of, but that's not going to help the Bears fans.
It was so wild last year that you had 3 playoff teams from this division. It could happen again.
It
feels like it should.
certainly.
I'm putting the Vikings in 3rd, but I think the Vikings are
I think
a 10-plus win team.
I think they are. They're the one team that I'm like, because of their 1-score game record and the quarterback change, it's like, okay, maybe something goes side. And look, injuries happen, and all of a sudden divisions don't finish the way you think they will. Any of these guys lose a quarterback, you're in big trouble. But, man, I'm sorry to whoever I offended in that order.
I'm not.
But at least Mike and I can be insulted together. So you went Minnesota, Jason?
I did.
So none of us gave Detroit the division. Look at us trying to be – this is all your fault because you wanted us to now be chalky chalk boys.
No, I think the Lions – like I have Green Bay winning the division, so they're in. I think the Lions are in the playoffs.
Also, Al is now – he's in love with me and you. I mean, Al has got to be thrilled back there.
I am shocked and very happy.
I honestly love Green Bay. I love Detroit and I love Minnesota.
Agreed.
And they can't all can they all tie?
And if I could have a magic wand and make one team out there great this year, I would choose the Bears. I think that would be.
Chicago's in the NFC South, where do they finish? That'll be a question.
Yeah.
Saints. They're better than the Saints.
They're better than the Saints.
Right?
Better than the Panthers.
Better than the Panthers.
Yeah.
And then you've got Atlanta, Tampa Bay, and that's a debate. But at least
I'll put Bears at least in second.
I know.
Sorry,
Chicago.
Yeah.
That's rough.
Tampa,
take that, AFC
Tampa,
South.
Chicago, Atlanta.
NFC South,
AFC South just got bodied.
All right. That'll do it. Back with another episode Saturday. Don't miss it.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.